Hi everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this top. Now it can be made as a top, um, dress, swimsuit cover, whatever you choose. It's very, very easy to adjust this pattern. It's not a hard pattern at all. It is a raglan style, which means that there's no sewing involved up here on the sleeve area. There's no sewing involved anywhere. So once you get this neck down and the sleeves made, it's just all worked in around. Actually, the whole thing's worked in around. So no sewing. Everybody likes that. Now I'm going to give you my size of mine. Now you see me in the picture. I am 5'3", and I generally wear, if I was to wear a shirt this size, or shirt like this, which I don't usually, but when I do, it would be a size medium. Now I would think this would fit someone, if you follow my instructions, size medium to large, because it is extremely stretchy. So and it's easy. I'll tell you how to adjust the sides. All you got to do is, when you get to the sleeve area, is I'll tell you what to do when we get to that video. I also will tell you how to add longer sleeves if you want to do that, or some other options for the sleeves if you want to do that. So mine measures right now approximately 17.5 to 18 inches across. 17.5 probably. But remember, it's stretchy. So and then I already measured. It measures about 25 inches down. Again, like I said, it will stretch once it gets on your body. That's the nice things about these chains. Even though it looks kind of scrunched up, once you put it on, as you could see in the picture, it will stretch. So that's why I would say the size I'm making is going to fit a medium to large. And I think if you did another round or so before you add the sleeves, you probably get a extra large, maybe 2X. But I always do recommend trying it on. I'll go over all that in the video when we get to it. So you guys want to go ahead and get started. That belt I'm wearing is just from Amazon in the video. So let's do this. It's super easy. Okay, the yarn that I am using is called Bernat Strata yarn. It's the first time I use this yarn. I really, really like it. I think it's a nice yarn. So it is a 100% acrylic medium 4-weight yarn. So you don't have to use this yarn. Any medium 4-weight yarn will work. I would, though, recommend, just only my recommendation, you don't have to take it. If you're going to use it, like make it longer, and you're going to make a bathing suit cover out of it, and you're going to be where you're going to be in the water, or, just really in general, a bathing suit cover, I highly recommend cotton or bamboo. Acrylic is hotter than cotton and bamboo, and it's also it's sticky. If it gets wet, it gets heavy. So that's only my recommendation. You do not have to take that, but I use mine as a top, so I used acrylic. And let's see, this big ball here has 600 and some yards in it, if I can find it. It's not showing up very well, is it? Anyways, I think it's 617 yards. I didn't even use the whole ball. I used probably about 400, maybe 420 yards of a 4-weight acrylic yarn for my size. So yeah, it doesn't take a lot of yarn because it's mostly chains and stuff. And then I'm going to be using, the color I have is called Deep Red. It's gorgeous, in case you wanted to know that color. I'm using a size J, which is a 6mm crochet hook. Okay, and I do not recommend at all changing the neckline. I'll show you where you need to make it bigger to fit. You just need to try it on, or your chest size, to make it fit you. Other than that, it's really stretchy, so it'll fit over hips and things like that if you make it longer. So like I said, it's very easy to accommodate. Longer sleeves, shorter sleeves, top, swimsuit cover, dress, whatever you want to do with it. Just if you wear a dress, wear a slip underneath it, anything you want. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start off with a chain of 96 stitches, and we're going to be slip stitching into the first one to form one large ring. So without twisting your chain, we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into the first chain. All right. Now we're going to start off by chaining 1. Now that chain 1 doesn't count as anything. It doesn't count as a stitch or nothing. We're going to go back right back in the spot that we just slip stitch, and we're going to do a single crochet. And now what we're going to do is we're going to work 1 single crochet in every single stitch all the way around the entire ring that we just made. Just like this. So 1 single every stitch all the way around, and I'll meet back up with you when we get back to the beginning. Okay, I've come to the end of round 1. I did my single crochet in every stitch. Now we're going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into our first single crochet, not the chain 1 that we made, but the first single. And you should have a total of 96 stitches here. Now go ahead and pull up your yarn there so you don't lose it. We're going to mark off some spots with some stitch markers. So I'm going to use 3 stitch markers here, and we're going to mark off where we're going to place our points. So not counting this one, remember we don't count this one, starting with the next one we want to count over 27 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, here's 27. I want to put a stitch marker in the 28th stitch. And that's where one of our points will go, where we do our increasing. Okay, again, now we're going to start again, and we're going to count over 19 stitches this time, not counting the one that we put our stitch marker in. So starting with the next one, we count over 19. And so there's my 19, and then the next one, the 20th, we're going to put a stitch marker. So that will be another point where we increase. Okay, let's do it again. Now, starting with we don't count the one that we just put the stitch marker in. Starting with the next one, we're going to count over 27 stitches again. And then the next one, the 28th, we put a stitch marker. Like that. Now, here we are towards the end. Now, not counting the one that we just put our stitch marker in, if we count, we should have a total of 19 stitches that remain. Okay, I do. So let's go ahead and get started on row 2. So we're going to go ahead and start, like I said, our first stitch is going to be the first point of the top here. So we're going to chain 1, which does not count as a stitch. We're going to do a V-stitch in this chain, or in this same space here that we just slip stitched into. So we are going to go into it, and we're going to do a double crochet, a chain of 1, and another double crochet into the same stitch, like that. Now we're going to work a chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we are going to skip 3 stitches. Skip, skip, skip. And in the next one, we're going to do a double crochet. Just like that. Again, we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are going to skip 3 stitches. Skip, skip, skip. And then the next one, we're going to do a double crochet. Again, we're going to do a chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip 3 stitches. Skip, skip, skip. And double crochet into the next. And we're going to do this until we get to our first stitch marker, which is coming up here. So chain 5, skip 3, double crochet into the next, repeat, chain 5, skip 3, double into the next, chain 5, skip 3, double into the next. Now when you make it near your stitch marker, you should have 3 stitches left before you get to your stitch marker. So what we're going to do is chain 5, and in that spot we skip those 3 stitches. In the spot that the stitch markers in, we're going to do a V-stitch. So we're going to do a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet, just like that, so we can take that stitch marker out. All right, let's start again. We're going to work the same pattern until we get to the next stitch marker. It's just going to be a little bit shorter than that one. So we're going to start with a chain of 5, and we're going to skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and double crochet into the next. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 3, double into the next, chain 5, skip 3, double into the next, chain 5, skip 3, double into the next. And now I'm coming to my stitch marker, and I should have 3 stitches that remain before the stitch marker, and I do. So I want to go ahead and chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip those 3 stitches, and then the stitch that has the stitch marker, we're going to do the V-stitch. So we're going to do a double crochet, a chain 1, and another double crochet, like that. So that's kind of what it looks like, and we're just going to repeat this pattern all the way around. So you can move that stitch marker out of the way, and we'll start again with a chain of 5, skip 3, and double crochet into the next. And we're repeating what we just did, chain 5, skip 3, double until we get to our next stitch marker, and that's where we'll do our V-stitch, and then we start again, repeating until we get over here to the end. All right, I'm coming to the end of row 2, or round 2, and I just did my double crochet, and I have 3 stitches that remain. I'm going to go ahead and do a chain 5, and end by slip stitching into my first double crochet and my first V-stitch. That'll end a row 2, and what we will have is 4 V-stitches, which are the points. So I'll go ahead and show you here real quick what we have. So we got 4 V-stitches with the points. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chain spaces in between the long parts of the V-stitches, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in between the short parts. So in actuality, you'll see it later, but it's kind of a square. There we go. If you look at it closely. So that'll be the back of it, of the article of clothing, and then the front, and the shorter areas between the V-stitches will be the arm area, or the shoulder area. So total altogether you'll have 24 chain 5 spaces. So now we're going to start on round 3, which is kind of going to be the repeat round for just a little bit. So what we're going to do is, we're going to slip stitch 1 time to our middle of our V-stitch, that chain 1 space. Okay, and then we're going to chain 1. Now we're going to start by doing a V-stitch inside this chain 1 space. So we're going to go right into it, and we're going to do a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. Now what we're going to do is chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to put a single crochet into the next chain 5 space. So right through the space, we did single crochet, and then we chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we single crochet in the next chain 5 space. Chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Single crochet into the next chain 5 space, and we're going to do this until we get to our next V-stitch. Chain 5, single crochet into our next chain 5 space. Again, chain 5, single crochet into our next chain 5 space. Single crochet into our next chain 5 space, chain 5, single crochet into our next chain 5 space, and now you can see we're at a V-stitch. We're going to chain 5 and go ahead and do a V-stitch in the chain 1 space of that V-stitch. So we're going to double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. So that's kind of what it looks like now. Of course, these will spread out more once you put the article clothing on, but now we're going to repeat that all the way around. It's actually quite easy to do. So this is the shorter side, so you can see there's not as many spaces between the V stitches, but we're going to go ahead and start again with the chain of 5 and single crochet into the next chain 5 space, chain 5, single crochet into the next chain 5 space, chain 5, and we do this until we get to our next V stitch. And you can see now I'm at my next spot is a V-stitch, so we have to chain 5, go into that chain 1 space of that V-stitch, and work another V-stitch. So we do a double crochet, a chain 1, and a double crochet. And now we're going to repeat what we've been doing the whole entire round until we get back to our starting point over here. So again, we just start with the chain 5 and single crochet into our next chain 5 space. Do that until we get to our next V-stitch, V-stitch in it, and then we keep going until we get to the end. I'll meet back up with you when we get there. Alright, so I've made it back to the end of round 3 here. I did my last single crochet in my last chain 5 space. I chained 5, and now I'm going to end by slip stitching into the double crochet in my first V-stitch. And now you'll have a total of 28 chain spaces all around. So you gained 4 chain spaces. This previous round you had 24, and now you have 28. So what we're going to do is we're going to repeat round 3, and every time you're going to have 4 more chain spaces than you did the round before. So for round 4, we're just going to do what we did on round 3. We will slip stitch 1 time until we get to our middle of our first V-stitch, chain 1, and work a V-stitch into that chain 1 space of the V. And then we start chain 5 and single crochet into our first chain 5 space, chain 5, single crochet into our next chain 5 space, and we do this till we get to our next V-stitch, and continue and put a V-stitch there and continue around. So it's pretty easy. And remember, the chains can loosen up a bit when you put the garment on. It's kind of like a stretchy type of mesh. So, but we're going to continue this. For round 4, I'm repeating what I just did on round 3. Okay, so I have done a total of 8 rounds, and I have a total of 48 chain spaces now. Now we're going to form the armholes. Now when you look at your piece, you have to remember it is rectangle shaped. So here's where I ended. This is the back, it's longer. This is the front, it's longer. And this would be the two sides, which would make the shoulder and the arm hole area, which is actually shorter. So what we're going to do now, this is what I did. You need to try it on so you can appropriately mark off the armhole so it's not too tight underneath your armpit area. So remember that it folds like this. The long sides will be in front and back, and you grab your two V-stitches, one from the front and one from the back, and you try it on. Now I will and you make sure that that is enough space for your arm and it's not tight on you underneath your armpit area. Hold those V-stitches together. Now we will be doing a chain 5 in between these two V-stitches of the armhole area, so you can account for that. I don't know, maybe it's going to add maybe about an inch or so or something like that. But so if you think that's big enough, you can stop. If you try it on and you feel like you hold these together and it's just, you know, even accounting for that chain 5 that we're going to add, it's just too tight for you. Remember, it is a fitting project, but you want it looser, add more rows until it fits right for you. But for now, this is what I'm going to stop at for I'm going to start doing my armholes now. So I just finished round 8. What I'm going to do now is I ended by slip stitching there into my first double crochet of my first V. I'm going to clip that yarn, tie that off. I'm going to start in a different spot. So once you get yours to the spot that you want it to be for your armholes, you go ahead and tie it off. Remember, these do stretch out, like I said. Okay, so I'm going to fold my work up, right sides facing me. Remember, long sides in the back, long side in the front, short sides, fold it like that. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start by you can see, here's where I ended. I'm going to turn my work around like this. I'm going to start right here in this, here's where I ended. I'm going to start right here in this V-stitch. And I'm going to go ahead and pull my yarn, just put my yarn in that chain space of that V-stitch. I'm going to chain 1, go back right into it and single crochet. Like that. Now I'm going to work a chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to come over here to this next V-stitch, kind of flip my work around, and single crochet into it. Like that. So that's what you got there. And now I'm going to do my chain 5 and a single crochet into the next chain space. Chain 5, single crochet into the next chain space. I'm going to do this until I get to my next V-stitch. So we won't be increasing anymore now. So I'm just working across. Until I get over here to my next V-stitch area, and we'll do our other armhole. I'm almost there. So when we get to the V-stitch here, make sure you chain 5. We're going to single crochet into it like that. Then we're going to chain 5 and come right over here to this next V-stitch. If you look, you can see it's where we tied off. So you need to line those V-stitches up, flip your work back around to the other side, and then just with that chain 5 on your hook, single crochet into that V-stitch. Like that. And that's your second arm opening. And we start again by chain 5 and single crochet into our next chain space. So now we have the armholes taken care of. Right now would be a good time to try it on again, just to make sure it fits you okay. If it fits you too tightly, just take it out and do another row or two until it fits you to where it feels good for you, to where it's not too tight and that you feel like it's going to be comfortable. Otherwise, I'm going to continue doing my chain 5, single crochet into the next chain space until I get back to my starting point. Okay, I've made it back around. So here's where we started. So now we're just going to be working in a continual round. So you can use a stitch marker and like place it here if you want. I'm just going to remember that this is where I started because here's my long chain. So here is the chain space before this V-stitch. I'm going to single crochet into it, and I'm going to chain 5. And here's the chain 5 space between our armhole. I'm just going to single crochet through that, chain 5, and then jump over here to the next chain 5 space and single crochet through it. Just like that. Chain 5, single crochet. We're going to do this until we get to the next armhole. So that's what it kind of looks like. Remember, if you want to put a stitch marker here, you can. But I'm just going to use this know that I started here as a guide, so that way we can finish. I'm just going to know that under the armpit area is where I need to stop whenever I get my articles, because I want it to be. So basically it's just chain 5 now, single crochets, round and around we go for as long as we want it to be. We're going to do this, and I'll meet back up with you when we get to the next armhole, and I'll show you how we do that one more time. Okay, I have made it to my next armhole here. You can see here's the chain. So, and here is the V-stitch right here. So I did a single crochet into this chain space. I chained 5, and I'm just going to single crochet into this chain 5 space of the armhole. Chain 5, single crochet into the next chain 5 space, and that's what we're going to do. Now there is no more slip stitching to end the rounds. It's just a continual round, so there will be no seam, no sewing, no nothing. We're just going to work around and around and around. Chain 5, single crochet into the next chain 5 space, chain 5, single crochet into the next chain 5 space for as many rounds as you want, for any length that you want. You want a top, you stop at a top. You want a crop top, you stop at a crop top. You want a dress, you make a dress. You want a swimsuit cover, you make it for as long as you'd like. There are no rules here. It's whatever you desire for the lengthwise. That's on you. But I'm going to continue around and around and around and around. And I'm going to always remember that my guide to the end of my round is always here where I started my first armhole. That way I know kind of where to end when it is time to end the round. Whenever I get it as long as I want, that's when I'll meet back up with you over there at that armhole area. Okay, once you get yours as long as you want it to be, remember you can make it however long you want. I, though, have done a total of 36 rounds, and that is counting the very first round of single crochet. Now, once you get back to where you started, remember I said you could use a stitch marker here, but I was just going to eyeball it. Right here is where I started my rounds, where we just continued around. So I just kind of followed it down, just kind of guessed at it. Doesn't have to be perfect, but right when you get back around the beginning, I guess I should have used a stitch marker, but I didn't. That's okay. Lesson learned. Probably no lesson learned, because I won't use a stitch marker next time either. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to go around it with some single crochet to kind of clean up the edging. Now, do remember though that this does stretch when you put it on. So even though the chains are kind of scrunched up right now, it stretches to appear. It'll get long when you put it on. It's always a good idea to try it on, because you want to pull it down and it stretches on your body, and then these chains open up. So it might appear short here, but it does stretch out. Okay, so I just did a single crochet into my last chain of 5 space. Now what I want to do is a chain of 3, and I'm going to go to the next chain 5 space and single crochet like that, and I'm going to do that 2 times, 2 single crochets into that chain space. Okay, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to single crochet into the next single crochet, and then I'm going to put 4 single crochets into the next chain 5 space. So just right through the space. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 single crochet on top of this single crochet, and then 4 single crochets into the next chain 5 space. And this is what I'm going to do all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 single crochet on top of that single crochet, and then 4 single crochets into the chain 5 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet into the next single crochet, and repeat 4 single crochets into the next chain 5 space. We want to do this all the way around until we get back to our starting point. Now it'll look a little bumpy, it's fine, because we're going to do another row after that, and it'll kind of straighten them out a bit. Well, hopefully anyways. So go ahead and continue putting 1 single crochet into every single crochet, and 4 single crochets in each of the chain 5 spaces all the way around until we make it right back here to where we started. Okay, so once you make it back around here, I'm back to where I started. Here's that chain 3 we did, remember, in the beginning, and then we put 2 single crochets in this chain 5 space. Could have put 2 single crochets into this chain 3 space. Now we're back to where we started. So I'm going to go around again with another round of single crochet. So if you want to use a stitch marker here, you can. I'm just going to take this piece of yarn, put it right here. That way I know when I get back around, that's my stopping point. Now I'm just going to go and single crochet into the next single crochet and work my way around, putting 1 single crochet in every stitch until I get back around to my stitch marker. Just like that. Okay, I have made it back to my starting point. If you want to go around again with more single crochet, by all means you can. I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch here into my stitch here that has the stitch marker like that, and I'm going to tie my yarn off, take that stitch marker out. I'm going to clip it, and I'm going to hide that tail, which I'll do that here in just a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to go around the neck with some single crochet. So you can start anywhere that you'd like as far as the neck goes. I think I'm going to start in the back here. Remember when we were starting the top part? I'm going to start right here in this back. So I'm going to make this the back here. But really it doesn't matter where you start, just anywhere. And we're just going to go around it with single crochet, kind of like we did the bottom, but actually it's going to be a lot easier because you're going to be able to see where your stitches need to go. There's no chain spaces or anything. It's just... So I'm just going to start somewhere right around here in any of these stitches in the back. And I'm going to chain one. And then I'm going to go back into that same stitch and put a single crochet. And I'm just going to work around the whole piece of the neck, putting one single crochet in every stitch. You should be able to see where the stitches need to go. Because like I said, there's no chain spaces, it's just the stitches. Just like that. And this is just going to clean up the neck edge. So I'll do this all the way around the neck, the front, and all the way back around the front and back around here. And I'll meet back up with you when we make it back here to our starting point. Okay, I've made it back to my starting point, and now what I'm going to do is go ahead and end by slip stitching into my first single crochet. If you want to go around again, around with another round of single crochet, you can do that too. But I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into my first single crochet and then tie that off, and I'll have to hide that tail, which I'll do that here in just a second too. Okay, so this is what we got so far. Now, do you want to do anything with the sleeves? So that is completely up to you. I think maybe I'll leave the sleeves as is, but if you want to do some more sleeves, this is what you can do. You can go around them with single crochet like I did at the bottom to kind of match them up. Or you can continue doing the chain 5 single crochet into the chain space around the sleeve area. So you would just, like right here, you'd single crochet, chain 5, jump over here, single crochet, chain 5, single crochet, chain 5, just like that. And you could keep doing that until you got your sleeves longer, as long as if you want them as long as you want. But like I said, you can leave them like this. That's probably what I think I'm gonna do. I kind of like the roughly look of the chains here, or do this to them if you want to. So that's up to you on the sleeves also. But like I said, it is easy to make them longer. Just do the chain, single crochet, chain 5, single crochet, chain 5, all the way around and around, just like we did down here. I think that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to hide my tails real quick. All right, mine's done. I think it turned out pretty good. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up if you did. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my content, whether it be tutorials or yarn content or whatever I decide to do that day. Hopefully it's entertaining and educational both at the same time. So thanks everybody for watching. If you make this, I'd love to see a picture of it or anything that you make. Come follow me on Instagram and hashtag me and Bagoday Crochet, and I'll check it out. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a good day. Stay safe.